Good afternoon, my wild and beautiful friends. I'm so glad you're here. Today I want to share with you my favorite way to prepare jackfruit. It's smoky and delicious and super versatile. You can even make it in a large batch to meal prep throughout the week. Keep on watching to see how we make it. Okie dokie guys, for this recipe you're going to need 2 cans of young jackfruit. I'm just starting a can at a time. I am draining off that briny liquid. Little Olive is saying hi if you can hear her. I'm just taking these jackfruits. I'm not taking the seeds out, and I'm pulling them apart where they're a little bit fibrous. Some of the chunks will stay whole and won't go apart too easily, but whatever I can break apart, I'm kind of breaking apart like you would a chicken or pulled pork. And then I've got a pan on medium to medium high heat and a half of a red onion that I've sliced pretty thin. And both cans of our jackfruit, I'm going to dump these in and get a good sear on them. Probably could use a bigger pan, but that's okay. Everything's going to cook down a little bit and it's going to eventually end up in the oven. So I'm going to let it get a good sear and start to cook down. I've salted and peppered it a little bit, about a half teaspoon of each. I'm going to let everything start to kind of break down a little bit. Let those onions get nice and soft and start to caramelize a little. Takes about 10 to 15 minutes on medium to medium high heat to get a little bit of a sear and to get everything to kind of start to break down a little bit. At this point, I'm going to add in some barbecue sauce. Use whatever kind you like. I've got a whole bottle of this Annie's vegan smoked maple barbecue sauce. Super good. Just use whatever you like. I find it's a little bit easier and cheaper to just buy a barbecue sauce that you like. You can absolutely make your own though if you prefer. And once I've stirred everything up in that pan and let it cook down for another 3 or 4 minutes, I'm going to toss this onto a cookie sheet with parchment paper. And we're going to bake it at 400 degrees for about 25 minutes or until we get a nice, crispy, golden jackfruit and onion mixture going on. And then we will be ready to assemble some epic burritos. So one of my favorite ways to eat this jackfruit is with some vegan coleslaw. The crunch and the veggie just makes it so delicious. I've got 2 heaping tablespoons of vegan mayo here. To that, I'm going to add some apple cider vinegar, salt and pepper, and a bit of sugar. I will, of course, type down below the exact amounts. I like to give this dressing part a little bit of a taste test before I start adding vegetables, just to make sure I've got the flavors right, in case I need to add a little bit more salt or a little bit more sugar or a little bit more apple cider vinegar to thin it out a little bit. So to this dressing, once we've got it just right, I'm going to add a 1/4 of a red cabbage that I've sliced really thin. I actually used the rest of this cabbage on a Thai peanut zucchini noodle recipe. I'll link that above. You should try it. Also using about 1/4 of a Serrano pepper with the seeds cut up pretty small. I'm adding those in first to the dressing to get them nice and dispersed. And then I'm just going to toss all of our veggies in our coleslaw dressing until they're nice and coated, and we will have a very delicious, crunchy, awesome coleslaw. If you have any fresh herbs on hand, I love to add a bit of fresh parsley as well. It's a really good detoxifying herb, and it just makes everything so bright and fresh. A pro cooking tip, cooking 101, if you use tongs or more than one fork, you can toss your coleslaw a lot easier. I just like to make things epically difficult for myself sometimes. So we're getting that nice and mixed in a very small bowl. We'll set that aside, and I'm going to grill up some mushrooms to make our burritos even more meaty and delicious. I splurged and bought a couple expensive shiitake mushrooms at Natural Grocers, and literally like an hour later after I did this, my aunt came by with the most epic bounty of oyster mushrooms that her and my uncle have grown. So of course I had to add some of those as well. Super not necessary, but definitely adds to the texture and flavor of your burrito. I mean, seriously, aren't these the most beautiful things you have ever seen? I cannot wait to cook with them. Oh my goodness. So I'm just going to slice them up a little bit thin and get them on a grill pan with some cooking spray. Just let them cook down until they're nice and brown with some salt. It's just going to add even more texture to our burritos. The awesome thing about this barbecue jackfruit recipe is you can eat it about 1,000,000 different ways and keep it in the fridge as a meal prep, and it's really versatile. So the burritos, of course, my favorite way. I also love to add it to salads, and it's even good cold with the coleslaw or cold on its own. It's so versatile. So I'm going to grill up our little mushrooms. I've got some extra veg to give us some more nutrition and more crunch and texture. And then we will assemble our little barbecue burritos here. Okay, first things first, we have a tortilla to make a burrito. I'm going to add in our grilled mushrooms. Look how beautiful those are. Gosh, I could just eat a tortilla with these or these on their own. No problem any day. Then on top of that, I had some orange bell peppers in our fridge here. So I added about a quarter of a bell pepper. And I also had a whole bunch of rainbow chard from our greenhouse at my mom's house. So I sliced that up. It'll get nice and wilty with the hot jackfruit. Add some more green nutrition, if I could spit it out. Then we're going to pile on our jackfruit, nice and steamy. I'm obviously not going to be shy about how much jackfruit I put in there. Very low calorie considering. And then I'm going to load up the top with our crunchy and creamy coleslaw. And we will be ready to wrap it up. I also really like to grill this. It makes it nice and crunchy and the texture really amazing when you bite into it. Worth the extra step in my opinion. I've added so much filling that I broke the tortilla. That's how you know you have a good burrito. Just gonna grill it up real quick and we will be ready to enjoy. And this, my friends, is my most favorite way to eat jackfruit. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope that you're all staying safe and healthy, and I can't wait to talk to you soon. Cheers.